Hi everyone, it's Anna. I hope that you're all having a good weekend. It's Holy Saturday today, so this is the day we remember Jesus' body laid in the tomb. It's important that he was buried because it means he actually died. So this is a solemn day, but there's so much joy coming tomorrow. And I thought I would share another Storytime book with you and your kids just to help with this weekend. I thought this book that I'm going to share with you today is called Goodbye to Goodbyes by Chandler. I thought it was really encouraging. It's one of my favorite stories in the Gospels. It's the story of Mary, Martha, and Lazarus. And it's about Lazarus's death and then Jesus bringing him back to life again and pointing to Jesus's death and resurrection. So I thought it was really encouraging and beautiful. The illustrations are beautiful. So hopefully this will help you and your family as you look forward to Easter coming tomorrow morning, and remember the goodness of God and that Jesus keeps his word and that God has a plan, and he is kind and faithful. So this is published by the Good Book Company. I'm going to post links below for thegoodbook.com and also Amazon, where you can find this book and the activity book that goes along with it. I've said this before, but the publishing company asks that we include this information in each video. They are having a sale right now during the coronavirus emergency. So this one is beautiful. It talks about death in a really gentle way, with a lot of hope in it, which I know is really hard sometimes to deal with that subject with kids anyway, but it also just shows the hope of the resurrection because Jesus died and was raised back to life. So I hope that this encourages you and your family and that you enjoy it, and it just opens up worship and discussion, and it's one more day until Easter, so I just hope that this blesses you and your family today.
Goodbye to Goodbyes, a true story about Jesus, Lazarus, and an empty tomb, written by Chandler and illustrated by Catalina Echeverry. In the little town of Bethany, there lived a man named Lazarus. He had two sisters, Mary and Martha. Martha loved to throw a party. Mary loved to sit and listen. Lazarus loved his two sisters, and they were all friends with a man named Jesus. But one day, Lazarus got sick. He went to bed sick, and he woke up sick. Martha and Mary looked after him, but Lazarus got worse and worse. "I know," said Martha. "I will tell our friend Jesus. He can help." Martha thought about all Jesus had done. He made the blind people see. He made the deaf people hear. He made people who had been sick walk, jump, run, and leap for joy. He could make Lazarus well. So she and Mary sent a message to Jesus. "Lord Jesus, our brother Lazarus, the friend that you love, is sick. Come quickly." It took 2 days for Martha's message to reach Jesus. And when Jesus heard his friend was very, very sick, he did nothing. Did nothing? That's right. He didn't ride the first donkey to Bethany. He didn't run until his side hurt. For 2 whole days, he stayed right where he was. Why? Jesus told his disciples, "Our friend Lazarus is very sick, but this illness won't end with Lazarus being dead. We won't have to say goodbye forever. I have a plan." Phew, Jesus had a plan. But what was it? Then at last, Jesus and his disciples headed to Bethany. "Our friend Lazarus has fallen asleep," Jesus announced, "but I'm on my way to wake him up." The disciples looked at each other. Did they hear him right? Lazarus was sleeping? Couldn't Mary and Martha wake him up? Jesus knew their questions. He looked at them and said, "Lazarus has died." Dead? How could this be? Didn't Jesus say that Lazarus would not die? Didn't he say they wouldn't have to say goodbye forever? What happened to his plan? Every step to Bethany felt heavier and heavier. Their hearts sank deeper and deeper. They were sad their friend had died. They didn't even get to say goodbye. 4 days after Lazarus had died, Jesus and his disciples finally arrived. Martha came running to meet them. Her face was sad. Her eyes were red. "Lord," she gasped, "if only you had been here, Lazarus would not have died. But I know nothing is impossible with you, even after someone's died and we've said our forever goodbyes." "You're right, Martha," Jesus said. "There is a day coming when we will say goodbye to saying goodbyes forever. Do you believe that?" Martha nodded. "Yes, I believe in you, Jesus. I know you are the Son of God, and I know you always do what you promise. You will end all our goodbyes forever." Martha went and fetched Mary. Mary was so sad. The brother she loved was gone. She would never hug him again. She would never eat with him again. She would never see his face again. Jesus saw her tears, and then it happened. His heart broke. He knew what he was about to do. He knew Lazarus' goodbye wasn't forever, but his heart broke for his friends. When they reached Lazarus' tomb, Jesus cried too. They cried and cried and cried because they'd had to say a forever goodbye. But then Jesus stopped crying and said, "Take away the stone." Martha told him there might be a horrible smell. Jesus said, "You need to believe me." So they took away the stone. Then he yelled like a lion's mighty roar, "Lazarus, come out!" And he did. Jesus kept his word. Lazarus being sick didn't end with him being dead. It ended with him being alive, even after he died, after they'd had to say goodbye. Mary, Martha, Lazarus, and Jesus were together again. Martha threw a party. Mary laughed and listened. Lazarus was glad to be alive. But then the time came for Jesus to say goodbye. He hugged the friends that he loved and said, "Goodbye for now, but not forever." Jesus had to go to Jerusalem, where he would be the one to say goodbye and die, and then, like Lazarus, walk out of the tomb alive. And after that, Jesus said goodbye again because he was going back to heaven. It was sad for Jesus' friends to say goodbye, but they would see him again in the land that lay after their dying, in the land where there are no more goodbyes, not ever. We all have to say goodbye sometimes. Some of them are short goodbyes. Some are long. Sometimes a friend of Jesus who we love gets sick and we're sad. Sometimes, because they die, we have to say goodbye. It feels like a forever goodbye. Jesus knows it is sad to say goodbye. So Jesus came to end goodbyes. And one day, Jesus and all his friends will say goodbye to goodbyes forever. Tales that tell the truth. How do we know about goodbye to goodbyes? The curious and spectacular story of Lazarus, his sisters, and their friend Jesus can be found in John's Gospel, chapter 11, verses 1 through 44. It is the last of 7 miracles John writes about in his account of Jesus' life on earth. The interaction between Jesus and his friends in this true story is especially dear to our family. We are very acquainted with illness and the possibility of saying goodbye for what may feel like forever. We have asked Jesus why in the midst of our pain. We have questioned his methods, but have been comforted by his heart. He weeps with those who weep. He rejoices with those who rejoice. He is the God who is with us in our sorrow and our joy. Although our family story hasn't ended in a goodbye, it will one day. But it won't be forever. For those who have believed Jesus to be their only hope, physical death will mean immediate presence with him. Philippians 1, verses 21 through 23. For those who are left behind, there is still hope. Hope in the life to come, and hope that Jesus will be with us always to the end of the age. Matthew 28, verse 20. The end.
So again, that was Goodbye to Goodbyes by Lauren Chandler. It was published by the Good Book Company. You can find this and other books in the Tales That Tell the Truth series at thegoodbook.com and also on Amazon. So go check it out, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of your Holy Saturday and are looking forward to Easter tomorrow. And we are celebrating Easter with you together. Jesus is risen, and he conquered the grave and this virus already, so we can hold on to hope and be filled with joy in his spirit. So I hope that you have a good weekend, and I will be sharing another book with you soon.